there, Connecticut. Welcome to Keisha's World. My name is Keisha Stuckey. I am your host. Thank you so much for joining us today. In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we have two fabulous women here that have survived breast cancer, one for 23 years and the other for 19 years. So I want to introduce to you Barbara Dettore. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
You're welcome.
And also Martha Buller. I want to thank you again also for coming on the show and
You're very welcome.
letting Connecticut know that it is possible to survive breast cancer. So here goes. I just want to let you out there in Connecticut know that I was at Dress Barn looking for an outfit for a wedding, scrambling all over the place, and this is when I ran into Barbara, who so graciously helped me find something simple and elegant. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So during our conversation, she did let me know that she has been surviving breast cancer for 23 years, right?
Yes.
Now, how did that happen? So you were diagnosed, when were you diagnosed with breast cancer?
June. Yes, it was June. I went in for my lymphedema in June. It was on a Tuesday. I had my first surgery on June 24th, and then on that Tuesday I got called into the doctor's office for him to tell me my results, and that's when he sat me down, and my sister went with me and used all these great big huge words that I had no clue what he was talking about. I picked up on the word malignant, and then I interrupted him and asked if he was trying to tell me I had cancer, and he said yes. And on July 1st, 1988, I had a mastectomy and stuff. And I did try to leave his office when he told me I had cancer. I thought I didn't want to stay and talk about it.
Really?
I figured if I left,
got out of there,
it wouldn't be, but I didn't leave. And, you know, I kept telling him he wanted me to have the surgery on July 1st, and I kept saying I had to go to Disney World. We had been planning for over a year to take our children. So he finally realized what I was hanging on to. It was kind of like a comfort zone. So he agreed I could go, but I had to have the surgery first. And he knew I wasn't going to be up to going. But once he said I could, then I agreed to the surgery and stuff. So on July, my first granddaughter's birthday, I had my surgery.
Now I want to ask you, what made you bring your sister with you? Was that normal for you to bring you said your sister to the doctor with you?
She did. Well, we were a little nervous and stuff of what was going on and what have you. And my husband at that time, his job had him out on the road. And I just didn't want to call him and make him drive home too quickly and stuff. So I figured it was easy to bring my sister, and I had refused to think it was going to be a bad report. I had been given a 95% guarantee that it wasn't cancer, so I had no reason to go into this, you know, into the doctors.
So what was that like for you, you know, having a mastectomy, because that's a pretty huge operation?
The thought of that was very scary. Cancer is, it's scary. When he said cancer, you immediately think death. You know, you go into there. But for me, and again, each person deals with things in different, I have a fabulous, fabulous support system. My family, friends, they just surrounded me. And cancer did not stand a chance. And on Thursday, the night before my surgery, I convinced my family that I needed to go for a walk, but I wanted to walk alone. And that was when my decision was made. I went for this walk, and the decision was made that cancer was not going to beat me, that I could die because of cancer, but it wasn't going to define me. And I was not going to spend that Thursday with my family and children just sitting there crying about it. I was going to deal with it, and I was going to beat it. And that's my attitude with it from the whole time. And my family, like I say, support is one of the best things you can have. And I'm a firm believer in talking about it.
Okay.
Things that scare us cannot beat us as long as we do talk about it. We face it square on.
Right.
And that's just where I come from.
Wow. So you're like a woman with no fear. So you basically, you
wouldn't go that
just,
far.
well, you sound kind of fearless, and I think that's great. So you basically just told cancer, no, thank you.
Right. Right.
And that's the way you looked at it.
Well, I felt that, again, not, you know, cancer could have killed me, and whether it still will in years to come, but I was going to enjoy today. My Thursday, my last evening before this major surgery with my children, was not going to be gloom and doom.
I understand.
It just was not, and that's where I come from with it. It's just, it doesn't define. I am me.
Right.
And I'll always be me.
I understand.
And stuff, so.
Wow, that's awesome. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. So somehow, some way, you end up working at this store, and then you run into another breast cancer survivor. How ironic is that?
It's really quite, you know, if there's anything that you can say, you know, when you do, people will always say, why me, or why not? And I'm just, why not me? Why should it have been someone else? It's me. But when I see the beautiful people that have come into our store, that are, some of them are just in the very early stages. And I am there, and just by me sometimes saying I'm a 23-year survivor, I've had people just hug me. I mean, just hug. Because again, I remember those first 5 years, you know, they're scary.
Yes.
Every ache and pain, you wonder if cancer is back and stuff. So it is so fabulous when you meet someone that has longevity with them. And stuff, and it really makes a difference. You feel better. And plus, you know, your Martha and I are able to help people make selections for clothing and let them know they look all right, or just by saying, you know, we had one lady who just didn't think the clothes looked right on her. So that's when I announced I says, well, is there anything wrong with what I'm wearing? And she says, well, no. And I says, well, I'm a 23-year survivor. And it seemed to make the whole difference with her. She just seemed to relax a little bit more. And again, go back to
It's like she was self-conscious about it, but you were able to assure her that she didn't look the way she thought she did.
Yeah, it does something to your self-esteem as well.
Okay.
You know, because you're no longer a complete woman. I never felt that way. I felt that my breasts had been put on my body for a particular reason. I was able to nurse my children, and I didn't need them anymore. So when I was diagnosed, it was, and I was also a second generation. My mother had breast cancer. I just took it as, you know, no different than getting up every morning. It was just,
wow,
you know.
That's great that you were able to handle it with such stride. Now, when did you find out? When were you diagnosed with breast cancer?
The Friday before Father's Day.
Okay.
And I was taking my Girl Scouts on a camping trip, town-wide camping trip. So I went on the camping trip, and when I came back from the camping trip, I informed my husband on Father's Day that I was, you know, had breast cancer. And so I had surgery in July and started chemo very shortly thereafter. And I used to, we lived in Clinton at the time, and I drove by myself to Hamden or to Milford to have my chemotherapy.
Okay.
And then I would go home and gather up my Girl Scout stuff and go to whichever school my Girl Scout troop was meeting in, and conduct my meetings as though, you know, the only thing was I was a little bit tired, but I couldn't show my 4th grade daughter or my 8th grade son, my 5th grade daughter and my 8th grade son, that mommy might die.
Okay.
And or my husband, who was scared to death.
Okay. So you kind of just kept your strength so that the people that were looking up to you wouldn't see a weakness or that you were giving up.
Exactly.
So do you think your daughter in the Girl Scouts was what helped you kind of survive in a way?
That and definitely my church. They provided a lot of meals for us. They would call and ask if there was anything they could do. And I was fortunate enough to be a stay-at-home mom. So I went out and did my own grocery shopping and housekeeping and you know, all that kind of thing. But there was definitely a lot of support there.
Wow, that's great. So
Support's important.
Yes, it definitely
is.
So it sounds like it was your friends and your family and your decision to say, I'm not going to accept this.
Right.
And it sounds like it was your daughter, the Girl Scout troops, and then your husband too, because you could see that he probably was like, I can't make it without my wife.
Right.
Well, there's so many husbands out there that can't make it without their wives.
Certainly my son was there, but being an 8th grader, it was kind of an awkward age to be talking about.
Peter was. My twin daughters. I had 5 children. But my youngest were twins, and they were 9 years old when I was going through it. And Peter was a bit older than that and stuff. So again, you know, you worry about how they're going to react to it and whatever. So you do have to be strong, and it helps you. It's a good thing.
I understand.
When I was getting ready to have the chemo, my children went with me and picked out my wig.
Oh, nice.
And it was kind of a fun thing. We went out for lunch and we picked out the wig, and then I told the kids that I wanted some kind of a babushka so that I didn't have to wear the wig, because I'd been told that your head gets very sensitive, and the inside of the wig is kind of like a netting, and it might be uncomfortable. Boy, were they right. It's like somebody takes needles and puts them on the top of your head. But anyway, so, and I was also cautioned that when you wear the wig, you have to be careful when you open the oven, because I chose to have a synthetic one, and the first time I baked cookies, the front of the wig went.
Oh my God, that's scary.
And I looked up and I went, oops, I guess they were right. So I had one for kind of every day when I went to the supermarket, and then I had a good one when we went out and went to church and stuff that didn't quite look like that. And then I wore the babushka really the rest of the time, and it was obviously cold in the winter, not having any hair, so I wore a scarf to bed. And the only conversation I remember having with my son was shortly before he graduated from 8th grade, and my hair was about 1 inch long. And I had stopped wearing both the wig and the babushka because I was proud of the fact that not only was I getting hair, but it was coming in curly, and my hair has always been poker straight.
Really?
And the little bit of gray that I had was not at that point coming back in. And he sat me down, he said, Mom, I've got something really serious to talk to you about. And it was what was going to be my head attire for his graduation.
Are you serious?
And he was as nervous as he could be about it. And I looked him straight in the face, and I've never been one to take things like that terribly seriously. And I said, well, I thought I'd go like this. I think, you know, with a little bit of gel in my hair, it would be spiky and really cool. I said, all your friends know that I've lost every hair on my head. And he said, please, Mom, for me. So I wore the wig, obviously, so that he wouldn't be embarrassed in front of all the people that didn't know that I had had cancer and lost all my hair.
Wow. It's funny how little boys and young men are like that. It's kind of like when I brought my son to football practice with green and pink rollers in my hair. He didn't like that too much. It's like they think we're supposed to be fabulous every minute or something.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's so hard being a woman, right? Always have to be pretty.
That's for sure.
Wow, that's great. That, you know, I'm just really happy really to have you both here, so that people that are watching this show, there's probably somebody out there right now that is maybe just diagnosed with breast cancer, or maybe they have someone in their family that has breast cancer, and the two of you alone can give them hope that you don't have to accept that death sentence that the doctor gave you.
That's right.
If you just, you know, speak life and say, you know, I'm healed, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna beat this, you know, anything is possible, especially if you have faith.
That's
and
right.
especially if you have the support, you know, from family and friends and things like that. So I just want to encourage anyone out there that is, you know, dealing with breast cancer, either yourself or a family member. I just want to let you know that there is hope, that there is a possibility that you can survive, and the proof is in the pudding with two ladies, fabulous ladies, strong women sitting here next to me who have been surviving breast cancer for 19 and 23 years. Now that's just a phenomenal way to beat the odds. So I just wanted to ask you two a little bit about what does Dress Barn doing to help people that are surviving breast cancer? Sounds like they're doing a lot of good stuff.
Dress Barn is fabulous in the sense they support the Relay for Life, which is, you know, it's, you take pledges and you go, and it's usually a 24-hour function. And it's usually, the ones we've gone to have been at schools where they have the track. Okay. And you have to continuously have a member of your team has to be walking on the track during that time. And we do a lot of fun things. You know, we sell things.
The stars, too.
And everything. We sell stars in the store.
In June, before the relays.
You know, it's meant to be a fun function. And it's, again, it just adds a little more support and encouragement to folks and stuff. And it's,
because most of the women there are breast cancer survivors as well? Or?
Most, there's a lot of them come to the Relay. There's a lot of them come.
And then there's probably some that are still dealing with it, and you guys are able to support them too, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You give strength to each other is what you need to do. And,
nice.
The fashion show that Barb and I participated in October, on the 12th of October, all of us that were models were breast cancer survivors.
Yeah, all 20 of us.
And we all went to a salon in Farmington to have our hair done. And it was interesting, our hair and our makeup, it was interesting to see the the different lengths of gals' hair, those of us that have had it and have chosen to wear it the length that
we were
we
in
do.
different stages. There were some that were you know, in the very
And there
early
were some that
stages.
had very short hair, and some that, one gal that was having her hair done next to mine had always had curly hair, but it was so curly that she really didn't have any ideas for the man that was working on her hair exactly what he thought would be becoming, and they ended up just leaving it lovely heavy curls.
Nice.
But it's
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Wow. So now, what about these little guys here, these cute little doggies on the table?
Aren't they sweet?
They are cute.
And they do have the breast cancer ribbon on the paw, on his back paw.
Wow. Oh, this is cool. Now, you guys sell these at the
Yes.
store?
We sell them at the store, and the profits from them go to breast cancer.
Oh, nice. That is. I bet you a lot of people must purchase these.
They
That's
do.
nice. So all the profits go to benefit breast cancer awareness?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how do you guys feel today? You know, like when when people come in the store, and because it kind of just rolled off of your tongue when I was in there that day. I don't know how we even got to talk to it. Do you kind of almost feel like, you know, you work for the store to help make women feel good about themselves as far as helping them find the right outfit? And also, do you kind of feel like maybe you were sent there to also encourage people that have breast cancer too? Does that make you kind of want to share your story a little bit more?
I think it's sort of...
Anytime you need to share your story with anyone, that especially, you know, when you're talking, just as like you say, we have no idea how it totally came into play.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, one of, a little lady came in, and she was just a month old, month in recovery. You know, we had you know, she was a month in, Dress Barn was her first trip out on her own, that she had come out on her own and stuff, and she was just a fabulous lady, and we talked, and she was having trouble, and that's how she shared that part of her story with her, and then I shared that I was a 23-year survivor, and she's been back in the store a few more times and stuff, and it's just, she's comfortable. There's a little comfort zone to know there's someone that understands, that fully knows what you're going, what your feelings are,
right,
and you know where we're coming from. So
wow. So like, what is do you guys have any stories that stand out, you know, as far as women coming in and you guys kind of talking? Like, has it ever got to like tears, or has anyone ever confided in you guys?
Well, I had a young lady, and I had put her in a fitting room, and actually this was before I came to the Middletown, this when I was in the Vernon Dress Barn, and she wasn't coming out, and I knocked, and she, anyhow, she did open the door, and she was in tears, and that's when she shared that this was the first time she was out trying to buy clothes since she's had her mastectomy and dealt with this. And again, I just told her I was X amount of years at that time, and she just came out of the room and embraced me, and just it was so good. At this point, she hadn't met anyone that had survived.
Oh, really?
You know, and again, this is the point. Cancer is still scary. It really, you know, and it shows it has no favoritism. It'll pick any age it wants. You know, my granddaughter has. Her 25-year-old girlfriend is battling breast cancer right now.
She's 25.
She's 25. And,
you know, it's ironic you say that, because I asked my doctor for one, and she told me I was too young.
Well,
and I'm 30 plus years old.
If I was to say anything to the ladies out there, it's be your own advocate. You say what you want. You tell the doctor what you need, and that this is what you want, and you know, we have to stand up for ourselves.
You're right.
We have to take control. This is our body. We know how we feel. We know if something is wrong. When I felt that lump for the first time, I knew something was wrong. It just appeared, and I knew it needed to be taken care of, and I was not going to stop until I had it taken care of. So we have to take care of ourselves.
That's true.
You're the only person who can do that, and you have to speak up for yourself.
Wow, that's amazing. So you kind of just sometimes just have to make that decision. If you feel a certain way, or if you have a funny feeling, just follow your gut and bring it to your doctor's attention. So what I'm going to do is basically demand one in a nice way with a smile. I'm going to demand a mammogram.
I started my mammograms at 35 because my mother had breast cancer. And if I had not been having them regularly, I probably would have died before they had found, before the lump came to the surface, because it was incredibly deeply seated.
Wow.
And the unfortunate thing was that I got busy with my children and church activities and scouting and all that kind of thing, and I didn't go for 18 months.
Wow.
And when I went to a different radiologist to have my mammogram done, he happened to be in the office. Very often radiologists come in, you know, just a couple of times a week to read mammograms and other x-rays. Well, he happened to be there. And he came out and he said, "Martha, do you have any baseline ones?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And he said, he asked me where they were, and I told him, and he asked me to go and get them, which I did, and I brought them back. And he put up the mammogram from the 18 months before and on the screen, and he showed them to me. And I had 18 months before I was diagnosed, I had a lump that was the size of a baby pea. In 18 months, it had grown to a regular green pea, and the bottom of the lump had a saw blade effect, you know, a jaggy, and the radiologist said to me, "Martha, if that had been taken care of 18 months ago, had just been removed, you wouldn't have cancer today."
Wow.
And right across the x-ray, the radiologist had written "no significant change."
Wow.
And
so that goes to show how important it is to do this regularly.
And calcifications need to be watched.
Wow.
Because they can very easily turn the wrong way.
That's true. So early detection is key.
Yeah.
Yes.
And getting a mammogram, no matter if the doctor says you're too young, maybe like even in your mid-20s?
Well, depends what your history is. If you have cancer anywhere in your family, that plays a part in it.
So if you're predisposed to it because of heredity, then you should go earlier than the age of 35.
Right.
And that you should do it yearly.
My 3 daughters, when they had no problem in having mammograms because of me having cancer.
Oh, okay. And how old were they when they got their first mammogram?
My oldest daughter was in her 30s.
Okay.
She was in her 30s.
And so far, so good. That's so great.
The cancer that hit me in the breast was a rare cancer to hit the breast. It doesn't normally go there.
Oh, I understand.
So it was a rare one.
Right. So, and you guys are just staying busy doing Relay for Life and fashion shows, and I know you went to an event with a great big giant pink
fire truck.
That was so cool.
It was the most fabulous thing I've ever seen. It was it was a hook and ladder truck, and it was totally pink, and it was totally covered with signatures of survivors and in memory of people.
Wow. So basically it was a big pink fire truck, and people would sign the fire truck if they were a survivor?
Yes.
Oh,
I got to sign a pink fire truck.
Oh, wow.
The fire truck was from Rhode Island.
Oh,
and so it had a special meaning because Rhode Island is my birthplace.
Oh, okay.
So got to sign the pink fire truck.
And then you got to go to an event on your birthday, right? The fashion show?
Right.
To celebrate your 19-year survival of cancer.
And of course, one of the things that the American Cancer Society says is their goal is for everyone to celebrate one more birthday. So it was really rather ironic.
Wow, so you got a chance to celebrate 19 years survival of cancer and a chance to see one more birthday. That's awesome.
And I also that week, my son marched into the store with he called me up at the store and he said, "What size t-shirt do you wear?" And I told him. And then he came marching into the store and held up one of the Middletown Fire Department supports breast cancer t-shirts.
Awesome.
Yes.
Listen, it was fabulous talking to you ladies. The show is ending, unfortunately. We could talk about this all day, but thank you so much, Connecticut, for tuning in to Keisha's World. And just to let you know, anybody can survive cancer if you keep the faith. Take care. God bless.